I want to make it even more impactful for you by giving you my top 5. The 5 unconscious biases that I've become increasingly aware of as I spend more and more time working with senior executives around the world. Welcome to Moments with Marty, your short, sharp shot of leadership insight to help you stay on track between our weekly episodes of the No Bullshit Leadership podcast. We produced a podcast episode several years ago to help you identify some of the unconscious biases that may affect your judgment, your perception, and your actions. In that episode, I covered 18 unconscious biases that are likely to affect your behaviour. As much as we like to think we're free from bias, it's an unavoidable part of the human condition. In this moment, I want to make it even more impactful for you by giving you my top 5. The 5 unconscious biases that I've become increasingly aware of as I spend more and more time working with senior executives around the world. Bias number 1 is the framing effect. We can draw completely different conclusions from the same information depending on how it's presented. For example, here are 2 interpretations of exactly the same statistic on the number of road deaths. The death toll from road accidents is down dramatically this year, as only 500 people have died on Sydney's roads, which is completely different to hearing, road deaths are out of control, and the government has promised to step in and spend an additional $4 billion on road safety initiatives in this coming year as 500 people die on Sydney's roads. Exactly the same information, just framed differently. The second bias is sunk cost fallacy. We're much more likely to keep putting money into an existing investment, even if it's shaping up to be highly unprofitable. I never cease to be amazed at the number of executives who understand this principle intellectually, but they can't seem to overcome it emotionally. Now, if we were totally dispassionate in our decision making, we would only look at future potential outcomes rather than being attached to our historical investment. In gambler parlance, never put good money after bad. Bias 3 is confirmation bias. We tend to find and remember information that confirms our existing perceptions. Now, this one affects almost all of us to some extent, and social media only makes this worse. The algorithm is designed specifically to feed us the information that it knows we already like. Whenever I hear or see something that I feel totally comfortable with, I try to challenge myself by saying, I want this to be true because it confirms in my mind that I'm right. But what's the source of this information? Is this really true and accurate? The fourth bias is halo effect. If you see a person who's excellent in one area of performance, you often give them more credit than they're due in another, completely unrelated area. Now, this is one of the reasons why so many excellent technical people are promoted from an individual contributor role that they're absolutely crushing to a leadership role that they're woefully inept at. But the halo of competence from their technical role often still hovers over them, even when their actual leadership performance is abysmal. And finally, the fifth bias I've chosen is anchoring. We rely heavily on the first information introduced when we make decisions. This is a critical concept in negotiation, particularly when it's a simple price-based negotiation. The first offer put on the table acts as an anchor, which then becomes the reference point for the remainder of the discussions. It takes discipline, confidence, and self-awareness to override an anchor. To counteract your unconscious biases, try asking yourself a few questions that are going to stop your brain from becoming lazy. Questions like, is that really true? What evidence is there to support that? If I had to swing 180 degrees around to debate this issue against myself, how would I defend the opposite position? If you want to take a deeper dive into how you can avoid the fallacy of subconscious bias, have a listen to episode 192 of the No Bullshit Leadership podcast, Avoiding Common Biases. We'll leave a link in the show notes. I really hope you enjoyed this moment and that it gives you that extra little spark to be a no bullshit leader.